1, 2, 3. Set up, man. You already know.
All right, man. Have some fun.
Jets on 3. 1, 2, 3. Jets.
The New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins have been playing since 1966 against each other. Their record in the regular season stands 55, 55, and 1. That tie has to go away today. There in South Florida, the 3-10 New York Jets take on the suddenly surging Miami Dolphins, who are 6-7. Right there in the AFC's playoff picture. The green and white can play spoiler this afternoon down in South Florida. Welcome into Pregame Central, presented by Uber Eats. I'm Eric Allen, running the solo route here inside the BetMGM studio, but we're joined as always by Anthony Becht and Eric Coleman. Hey, Anthony, let's start with you. Beautiful selection with the shirt. I'm feeling Florida today when I look at you.
Those are actually snowflakes on my shirt, to be quite honest. Just a little more color to them. Yeah, look, it's warm here. Just hearing for what's going on in Miami, you get a little bit of rain down there early before the game. You're going to get that warm weather. It's going to get some of that moisture seeping out of these players, so they got to make sure that they stay on top of being hydrated. But, yeah, I appreciate it. You know, a little holiday, get festive here. It's always good. I mean, look, I got the shirt. Eric Coleman's got the tree. That's the difference.
E. Coleman, he's ready for Christmas. E, what changes with the intensity of December football, and how can Zach Wilson and the Jets benefit from playing teams who are in contention, just like the Dolphins?
Well, you know, when you get into December, it's the real deal. You know, you separate the men from the boys, and it's, you know, every inch counts. And I think that what you see when you're with the Jets is you find out who's going to be there. You know, who are your people who you can count on. You know, you're playing against a Dolphins team that's fighting. They're trying to get into the playoffs. The Jets are trying to play spoiler at this point. But, you know, there's still a lot to be earned. A lot to be learned for this team. You have a young team. They have a lot of fight in them. And I think as you get into December, you know, as your body starts to break down, you rely more on your mental side of the game and focus on the little things. We're
going to hear from Ethan Greenberg coming up, but as we watch Zach Wilson get warmed up here in Florida, 80-degree temperature, I think, today we're expecting. Anthony, the Jets are emphasizing tempo and eyes with the rookie quarterback and not over-analyzing. This is a contest where he's going to be challenged post-snap by a pressure-happy defense.
Yeah, you're right. You know, listen, Eric just talked about it. You know, there's something to play for the Dolphins. They're a game out of with several other teams in AFC for the playoff run. And they feel like, listen, you know, they got as good a chance as anybody, especially the run that they've been on as far as winning football games. I think the most important thing for Zach Wilson and really, you know, LaFleur and calling plays in this offense is making sure that if they do get the third down, it's very short yardage. You know, I would say 3 or less, because if it's 3 yards or less, okay, normally, you know, if you get that pressure, you're going to have some type of built-in quick route or something around the sticks where you can actually convert. You get into those problems where you start getting to 5 yards or more, because once it's at 5 yards, the ability for the linebacker, whoever's pass rushing at that time in that blitz package, can get into the face or get close to Zach Wilson if it's not picked up. In particular, if it's a cover zero situation, what we've seen over the season from the Dolphins, you know, someone may be free. So it's the receiver getting their depth and time, Zach being able to read that quickly, and also, you know, not taking a hit. And where is it coming from? His blind side, his front side, you know, to the side of the strength of it where he's throwing the football. So all those things, like you said, he'll have to process that information. But I think offensively they can all help themselves by making sure that they're not in third and long. That's where the Dolphins really, you know, feast on the offenses, regardless if it's a rookie quarterback that they're going against.
Awesome, great camera work. I mean, tremendous camera work by our fellas on the field right now, because it's like they have the notes where I'm going next. Hey, E, Joe Flacco threw for 291 yards in that first meeting against the Dolphins, had 2 touchdowns. His top weapon that day was Elijah Moore. The Jets will not have Elijah Moore. He had 8 catches, 141 yards, a 62-yard scoring reception. but what do you think Wilson could take from Flacco's first performance against the Dolphins here this year?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for Wilson and Flacco. The whole week you study the film, you study the Dolphins' tendencies, you see what was successful for Flacco, and I think that will put Zach Wilson at ease. He's a young quarterback. Sometimes when you see a guy do it in practice is one thing, but when you watch him execute on a game with the same personnel against the same scheme, it makes it a little easier to imagine in your head. So I think that this will be good for Zach Wilson to be able to learn. And what you see out of that 291 last time they played is that there are opportunities. Yes, this is a very potent defense for the Miami Dolphins, but there are plenty of opportunities out there. You just have to take what the defense gives you.
Well, Anthony, reinforcements on the way on both sides of the ball for the Jets. Michael Carter, the running back, he'll be back in the lineup. Tevin Coleman as well, Tyler Croft, and Trayvon Wesco. So that should help out, even though the Jets are still missing the aforementioned Elijah Moore.
Yeah, it's nice to get back bodies, just depth alone. I mean, those guys are pros. They'll be able to jump in there. I'm really excited to see what Michael Carter and how he influences the offense in this game as well. Obviously this has been a crazy week for NFL football teams, particularly the Jets and the Dolphins, and how they're going to kind of get on the field with the players that they have. But you're right, getting players back in the current climate is going to be big for the Jets, and hopefully those players can help them. Help potentially a security blanket for your quarterback with Tyler Croft. Help in all-out protection with Wesco back there if he's in the game as well. And of course, big play ability, spurt through the line of scrimmage with Michael Carter at the running back position.
You are watching Pregame Central presented by Uber Eats. It's the Jets Dolphins down in South Florida today. Eric, on the other side of the football, Jets are getting healthier as well. Can you talk about the importance of getting Michael Carter, the second back at that nickel position, and Bryce Huff? I don't think people realize how much Huff means to that entire dynamic up front.
Absolutely. I mean, when you get your nickel back, Michael Carter the second being back in the fold, it's like having another little quarterback out there. The nickel is a very important position in today's defense. They're a linebacker, they're a safety, they're a cornerback all in one. A lot of the run fits are dictated around that nickel position. A lot of the passing drops are dictated in third down, getting off the field. He's going to be lined up against a guy like Jalen Waddle, where he's going to have to shut things down. So very important position. Having Bryce Huff, the more weapons that you can have, the more rotation you can get up front. I think it just helps keep that defensive line fresh, especially when you get into this warm weather, trying to get after Tua, get in his face, and create some havoc.
The Jets are actually going to catch a break today as we head down to South Florida right now and bring in Ethan Greenberg. No Jalen Waddle. Before we get to the injuries and what's going on with all these COVID issues that not only the Dolphins and the Jets are dealing with, but everybody in the National Football League is encountering right now. What's the weather report?
Well, if you were to ask me when I drove into the stadium, it was a torrential downpour. It seems like the field is drained pretty well here. Now we're looking at some sunshine. It's hot. It's humid. I'm happy this game is December, not November or October, because it'd feel like training camp in the Northeast if that were the case. And right now, I'd say we're expecting some sunny skies. I think it's may or may not rain. I think we're going to experience maybe some light showers around game time, maybe midway through the game. But right now, so far, so good. And I hope I don't get rained on by the end of the show.
All right. Were you hydrating the right way? Because Robert Saleh talks about, hey, you got to hydrate 24, 48 hours before actually getting there. You're not taking in all your water right now, are you?
I'm not taking in all my water. I'm ahead of the 8 ball here, EA. I'm a big water guy, so I think I'll be properly hydrated. Don't expect me to cramp up through the middle of the game also because I'll be in the press box, but I think I'll be all right.
All right, man. Corner pocket with that 8 ball. Let's talk about the Dolphins. Who's not in the lineup today? Because there are a couple prominent players on both sides of the ball I think the Jets are not going to see.
Well, the biggest name here is Jalen Waddle, the rookie receiver for the Miami Dolphins. Leads the team in reception, yards, tied for touchdowns. He had a touchdown against the Jets in Week 11 at MetLife Stadium, and he will not play. Now, if we had this conversation a couple days ago, there would be more names on this list. Now in question, Myles Gaskin, Salvin Ahmed, both activated off the reserve COVID list Friday. Seems like they're on track to play, and they were placed last week. Now, the name to watch here is another rookie for the Dolphins, but on the defense, in Javon Holland, because Holland is a guy, very important piece to this defense, especially with the complex looks that Brian Flores likes to throw around there. And Holland was activated off the reserve COVID list late yesterday, but it is unclear if he'll play. He's questionable to play. So when we get the inactives, right, the Dolphins will put out their own inactives, and Holland either will or will not be on that list. So we'll know by the end of the show whether or not he'll play. But those are the Dolphins to watch. And for the Jets, in terms of the reserve COVID list, well, luckily the Jets are in pretty good shape. The only guys that are on the list, pretty much core special teamers. When you think of guys like Justin Hardy, Jeff Smith, Hamza Nasruddin, there was one late addition yesterday. This is the biggest name of the bunch, defensive tackle Folorunso Fatukasi. So you would anticipate, EA, that Jonathan Marshall, the Jets rookie, would then be in line to play against the Dolphins here in a couple hours.
Good stuff as always, Green. So final question before we touch base again later. What's the status of George Fant?
So George Fant right now, doubtful for today's game, and the Jets got reinforcements on the offensive line yesterday when they activated Chuma Adoga off of injured reserve. They released Isaiah Williams, who had played more interior in training camp when he joined the Jets. So right now, or earlier in the week, Robert Saleh said that Connor McDermott would probably be in line to start at left tackle for George Fant if he cannot go. And George Fant, I mean, we've talked about this throughout the year. He's done a great job filling in for Mekhi Becton on that left side ever since early or midway through the week one in Carolina all the way to date. So it would be interesting to see how the Jets are going to game plan against this Dolphins defense that likes to send different looks on that left side if indeed Fant cannot go in a couple hours.
Yeah, you're going to have the inactives for us coming up in a couple minutes, and so Connor McDermott could be starting for the Jets at left tackle. Uber Eats, the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL, is delivering game day deals all season, like buy one, get one. Order now with your Uber Eats app. For more on today's game, let's get to Caroline Hendershot.
Jets head coach Robert Saleh discussed the whole concept of December football and how the intensity really shifts. What do you expect to see from both teams heading into this one?
I don't think you can ever underestimate what's going to happen between these two teams in particular, being that it's just a rivalry game. Even the last game came down to the wire in the fourth quarter, and some penalties, some costly penalties at critical junctions, cost the Jets arguably that game. So, looking ahead to this one, I still think it's going to be a dogfight. You throw out the records, you throw out whatever win streaks, losing streaks may be coming into this game. There's always going to be, a very aggressive and very gloves off approach when the Dolphins play the Jets.
You mentioned that fourth quarter last game where the Dolphins held the ball for 11 minutes of the fourth quarter. Do you think the Jets, if they're able to reverse that, could maybe play spoiler and kind of ruin the Dolphins' hopes for the playoffs?
It's definitely a possibility. Even in speaking with Tua not too long ago, Tua specifically said he's going to be keeping an eye on Quinnen Williams, and that pressure that I noted when we first started talking. So it's all on the table. If the Jets D-line performs like they were performing earlier in the season, there's a lot of possibilities there to throw the Dolphins off of this win streak and potentially their playoff hopes.
Yep, for sure. Well, we will see you on the sideline on Sunday. Thanks so much for taking the time, and we will see you then.
Thank you so much.
That's Caroline Hendershot with AJ Ross, of course. AJ will be on the call today, part of the CBS broadcast team. Hey, have your voice heard, as always, here on Pregame Central, presented by Uber Eats. Last Sunday, C.J. Mosley had a career-high 17 tackles. Today, against the Miami Dolphins, Jets linebacker C.J. Mosley will record double-digit tackles for an 8th time this season. Vote now, yes or no. Let's bring back the fellas, Eric Coleman, Anthony Becht, and get our matchups to watch underway. You were going to take Jalen Waddle and Michael Carter II, but no Waddle in the lineup today. So you're going to go with a young second-year cornerback for the Jets versus a dynamic receiver on the outside for the Dolphins.
Absolutely. Devontae Parker is a big time playmaker for the Dolphins. They rely heavily on his speed, on his agility, and it's going to be a big challenge for Bryce Hall. Bryce Hall has played well all season. He's done a great job of shutting down receivers, getting his hands on balls, especially on third down. So that's a great matchup for me. I'm looking forward to that one, and I like Bryce Hall in this one.
E, how critical is it for the Jets to keep that ball in front of them today? Because Miami, they're not known for passing the ball down the field with those explosives, but in that first meeting back in Week 11, one of the daggers was Tua Tagovailoa hitting Mac Hollins for a 65-yard scoring reception.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as a secondary, as a defense, it's the big plays that you can't allow. You know, you can't have mental mistakes, beat yourself, allow them big opportunities, because that really will break your will as a team. So if you make them earn every yard, that's more opportunities that you have to get turnovers, let that defensive line get to the quarterback to make things happen. So make them earn every inch. Don't allow them any big plays. I think it's very important they keep this team in front of them.
Bryce Hall is going to be a fixture in that defensive backfield for years to come. How about you, Anthony?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the rookie coming back on the field, Michael Carter versus linebacker Jerome Baker. Listen, Jerome Baker's the leading tackler for the Dolphins. He's a guy that not only will be big part of the rush stopping side of the defense, but also part of the blitz package, something that, you know, when you look at what Zach Wilson's have to worry about, but really my eyes will be on Michael Carter. I hope the Jets take a page out of the Saints using Alvin Kamara last week, where they basically said, okay, he's going to play a low pitch count. We're not going to use him a lot. And all of a sudden, he basically is the guy they fed every single snap of the game. So, look, I can't wait to see him back on the field. Really an integral part of the boost of what this offense has been, and probably one of the more productive rookies during his stretch of playing time than all running backs that were drafted in this past draft to see him on the field.
AB, we're talking about wardrobes as we started the show. Did you get a chance to see Michael Carter, who, oh, by the way, is a Florida native himself, what he wore to the stadium today?
Yeah, you know, those guys always have a couple shirts that when they go back home, they can pull them out and take the tag off. Looks like he had a nice little flowery shirt as well. Looked like it was popping nice, maybe some palm trees on it. I think he had some shades on too. That looked pretty good, but good for him, man. It's always good to be back in an area that you have family and friends. It's exciting, and maybe that's a little more boost for him to have a huge game as well.
AB, look good, play good. And what does it say about Michael Carter that he's still the Jets' leading rusher despite missing the last 3 games with that low-grade high ankle sprain?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, fantastic. I mean, he's a guy, catch the ball in the backfield. He's very quick. He doesn't miss a lot of holes. You know, he's a small, compact guy, but he does run with a lot of power. And look, he's been an exciting rookie to watch. They really hit it out of the park with him and Elijah Moore and AVT. And, of course, you know, getting Zach moving around, doing his thing, getting more reps under his belt. So I'm excited to see him back on the field. It should be a big boost for this offense.
I totally agree with that. Remember what Michael Carter and Javonte Williams did at North Carolina when they went down to Miami last season, 600-plus yards on the ground, tore it up. Listen, guys, I'm going to go with what I feel is today's top storyline overall. How is rookie quarterback Zach Wilson going to fare against the Dolphins blitz? The Jets, even though all they came away with last week was 3 field goals from Eddie Pinheiro, they're coming off their first turnover-free game of the season. We talked about Joe Flacco before. The Dolphins blitz Flacco 50% of the time, but he beat the blitz in that first meeting, throwing for more than 291 yards. According to Next Gen Stats, the Dolphins and the Buccaneers are tied for blitzes this year with 213. The Dolphins' blitz percentage of 38.9 leads the National Football League. They rank 4th in quarterback pressure rate at 30.3. And finally, they're allowing opposition quarterbacks an 85.8 rating, which is 7th best in the National Football League. And opposition signal callers are completing just 61% of their passes against Miami, which is the 6th best number in the National Football League. This is going to be a huge challenge for Zach Wilson today down against the Dolphins. But this is what your season is all about. Robert Saleh stressed this week, that Zach Wilson is the future of this franchise. He needs to go out here and experience situations like this. After the game, we'll be back here for Jets Overtime presented by Nissan SNY. We'll have you covered all day with their pregame and postgame shows as well. But coming up next on CBS 2 here in New York, it's Jets Game Day with Robert Saleh. Let's take a sneak peek. Right.
How about the challenges of going to virtual meetings this week? Yeah, obviously, you guys are going to be outside on the practice field for practices and walkthroughs, and then playing in South Florida, heat and humidity in December.
Yeah, the virtual stuff, we're pretty used to it by now. We've had some virtual meetings here even during the season and spurts, so we're fine there. It shouldn't really affect anything, but obviously going down to Miami is going to be a little bit different, changing in climate and all that stuff. Hopefully it's at this time of year it's not too bad, even though it will be. I know they've got a new shade over their stadium and all that stuff, but it's a challenge that we're excited for. It's gonna be fun to go down there and play, and it's gonna be a great challenge.
That's Jets Game Day with Robert Saleh. You can watch that locally here in New York, 11:30 a.m. It's also going to be available on NewYorkJets.com at 12 noon. You are watching Pregame Central, presented by Uber Eats. Eric Allen running the solo route here inside the BetMGM studio. The National Football League has granted 18 teams business rights in 8 countries. The launch of a long-planned initiative to build the league's international fandom by giving teams the ability to treat foreign markets as their own for the first time. The Jets. We're coming to London, baby. The Jets, of course, played at Tottenham Stadium earlier this year against the Atlanta Falcons. And back in 2015, they played at Wembley against the Miami Dolphins, who, of course, the Jets are facing today. But the Jets marketing rights in London. What do you fellas think about that, Eric?
I love it. I'm ready to head over across the pond and see how much love we have over there in London. I'm sure that it was great. From the game when you watched it, the crowd was electric. I think they're really excited about the NFL over there.
Yep. Anthony, the rights included in the deal are similar to what NFL teams already may do exclusively in their own home markets, including selling preseason TV rights, regular season terrestrial radio rights, digital marketing, and in-person marketing, fan events, merchandise sales, sponsorship sales, and co-marketing relationships with other sports and entertainment properties in that market. So the Jets in the UK. The Jets are in the UK, and we're here to stay. Nick Mangold, the ambassador for the Jets over there in the UK. Let's get to our all-in or not today leaderboard right now. I think it's closing that gap at the top. I just have a 1-game lead over Anthony Becht and Eric Coleman. Ethan Greenberg's there, 3-10. He's got the same record as the Jets. I think we're going to start right now as we bring in all the fellas. Eric Coleman, Tua Tagovailoa will complete at least 74% of his passes today. What do you say?
I say not today. Tua has been very efficient these last 3 or 4 games. Taking care of the football, and we know that he's the ultimate game manager. He doesn't try to take too many shots. He drops it off to his running backs, to his slot receivers. But I think with the D-line, I think they'll create some pressure for him, make things a little difficult, and hopefully the defensive backs challenge these receivers and make it tough on them.
Yeah, Tua's on quite the hot streak. The last 4 games that he started, he's posted a passer rating of north of 100. As we watch veteran Jamison Crowder warm up down there. AB, Jamison Crowder will have at least 5 catches and a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm all in on that. I mean, listen, I think, you talk about third down situations, getting the ball out of a shifty receiver's hands. Zach Wilson should have a day where he should lock up with this guy several times. And if they get into the red zone, I think we all feel comfortable about what Jamison Crowder has done in the past, getting into the end zone as well. So I think it's very capable of happening. I expect a big day. It's going to be needed in this football game to balance what they do from the run game. And And listen, I see a lot of blue skies behind Ethan, but I do see one rain cloud. It's probably fitting that it's going to start raining on him right during this pick here as he tries to venture his way up with the leaderboard, right, Eric?
Boom! Bringing the hammer down. But before we get to Ethan, can we get to the fans here just for a second? We stated before C.J. Mosley, career high 17 tackles last week against the New Orleans Saints, of course. He's had 7 games this season of double-digit tackles. We asked the fans whether Mosley will record double-digit tackles for an 8th time this season. An overwhelming yes. Half man, half amazing. C.J. Mosley going to make it happen, the fans say again. I'm hearing noise from the stadium there down in Miami. Ethan, Michael Carter, back in Florida. Back in the lineup after a 3-game absence. He will have at least 100 yards from scrimmage today. What do you say?
First of all, I think Anthony put me in timeout there. I got booted out of the stream after he brought the hammer down on me. Second of all, I'm going to go not today here, but you guys have been talking about all show this Dolphins defense, the numbers over their win streak, and this is Michael Carter's first game back after missing 3 games. I think that not with Corey Davis and Elijah Moore, I do think that the Jets will turn to Michael Carter more frequently. I just think this is a tall task when you think about the guys out, and especially with the status of George Fant in question as well.
And that is a tough one, and we're going to see about Fant's availability here momentarily for the Jets. Again, Connor McDermott expected to start at left tackle if Fant can't go. Michael Carter back in the lineup. A huge plus for the Jets here today. Let's stay on the topic of Florida guys back in Miami. A South Florida guy, Eddie Pinheiro, had 3 field goals for the Jets last week. So mine is Eddie will make at least 2 field goals in his return to Florida. I'm all in. Listen, Eddie did a nice job at MetLife Stadium. It's a hell of a lot more difficult kicking amongst those wins at MetLife, those gusty winds, compared to beautiful South Florida. And the sun and the humidity, the ball is going to explode off his foot today. I think Eddie will cash in with a couple field goals today down there against the Miami Dolphins. Before we get to inactives, let's go to Anthony Beck. Final thoughts here for the Jets to be in this ball game late with an opportunity to win it in the 4th. What do they have to do?
Well, I can tell you this, they're going to get their best from the Dolphins. I think that's what you want. When you start assessing young players, you start assessing the quarterback, you get into these late season games. Sometimes you play teams that aren't really fighting as much because their season's over. Well, the Dolphins have a lot to play for. So this is going to be a huge evaluation tape for all these players, and I think it's a great opportunity to take a step. You know, I want Zach Wilson to be in meaningful games. I want these young players and these linemen and these DBs to be in meaningful games, and that's what they'll get. So they're going to have to play an A game today, and it's on the road. It's going to be, a hostile environment as far as what this defense is going to bring towards the offense of the Jets, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Zach Wilson improves and takes a step in an area today for the Jets.
Eric, if the Jets do some good things here in this ball game, it's going to sound much like a home game because both of you fellas know it better than anybody. New Yorkers love some Florida heat, and there are going to be a lot of green and white in the stands today. We just saw Braxton Berrios, the guy who was targeted a team high 10 times last week. Of course, he attended Miami University, played for the Canes. What can you say about the crowd there in Miami and how unique it is?
Well, they do call South Florida the 6th borough. There's a lot of New Yorkers down there. It's just going to be up to the Jets. Can we give them something to cheer about? Because the more successful they are, the more they're going to come out of the woodworks and start cheering, and it's going to turn into, like MetLife South down there. So as long as the team can play well, manage the game, get a couple of big plays, I like their chances. And, with that New York base being down there, I think it helps out a lot.
And final thought from you on what does Wilson have to do when he sees those DBs coming, and how quick does he have to be in terms of making that transition from pre-snap recognition to post-snap recognition?
Yeah, I think that it just starts with him having a plan, understanding how the Dolphins are going to attack him. Where are my hot reads? Who's going to be the open receiver? How quick do I have to get the ball out? If he can get through that without panicking, find that open receiver, find that mismatch, I think that he'll be successful. He has Joe Flacco's film from a couple of weeks ago to watch. I think that's going to be advantageous for him. And he just has to stay calm, not try to make too much out of when there's nothing there, and just take what the defense gives him.
All right, thanks, fellas. We'll check in with you on Jets Overtime. Ethan, take it away. It's time for Game Day Inactives.
All right, so this is not surprising here. George Fant, one of the inactives, Michael Pirine, Tim Ward, Isaiah Dunn, and two surprising names, or somewhat surprising names, or it's guys to monitor here, Ty Johnson and Shaq Lawson. In terms of the running backs, that means that Michael Carter, Tevin Coleman, and Austin Walter will be the three in the backfield. And then along that D-line with the addition of Bryce Huff, Shaq Lawson here, one of the odd man out. And those are all the inactives here, EA, from South Florida.
Great stuff. We will talk to you later as well. There's the scene at Hard Rock down in South Florida. The Jets looking for their fourth win of the year and their first divisional win under Robert Saleh. We'll have to see how it all plays out. For those tuning in locally, head over to CBS 2 for Jets Game Day. We'll see you later.